Welcome. I'm Jeff Potash, president of this congregation, and I welcome first new members, lifelong members, everyone in between. Welcome. Welcome Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and to all our non-Jewish partners and family members, a welcome and a thank you. Welcome LGBTQ members, others marginalized in the past. It is a simcha, a joy to be together in community. And it remains for me personally a privilege to serve you. In my address on Kol Nidre evening last year, to a much smaller in-person gathering, I spoke on the theme of survival in the face of COVID, with fears of individual safety emptying our building and undermining our personal relationships. Our membership numbers plummeted, and our fiscal well-being was challenged by monumental deficits. But fear, I spoke in the fall of 2022, had been supplanted by hope. We had survived. If resilience was last year's theme, I am happy to report that the state of OZ today is best described using a portmanteau term my wife's stepfather taught me. Today we are surthriving. We have exited from the darkness. While many congregations across this land continue to decry their continuing membership and fiscal woes and ongoing certainties for the future, OZ is alive. It is vibrant, joyful, and confident, and you are all testimonial to that fact. Consider a few illustrations. Our membership has rebounded spectacularly. The board this past Tuesday evening voted to accept 16 new family members who joined us in the last month. Our total paid membership is projected to exceed 300 family units for the first time in many, many years. Our congregant fair share contributions have risen by more than a third this year alone, and our endowment with two recent bequests from longtime OZ members now tops $5 million, a staggering 67% increase over the $3 million we had a mere year ago. I could and will, at December's congregational meeting, share many more facts and data to bolster the case for survival. But citing numbers and asserting self-congratulations is not my primary intent on this sacred eve. We are where we are because so many people have come to make it possible. On behalf of the entire OZ board, I express deepest gratitude to our dedicated staff, to Raul Guevara, to Erica Town, to Naomi Burrell, Sophie Miller, and to Dana Sachs, who recently became our manager of the Shalom Shuk. And on July 1st of this year, a mere 2 months ago, we appointed our new interim executive director, Brett Smith, and concurrently welcomed a new rabbi, Aaron Filmus, and his family into our community. Our staff's energy, together with the selfless efforts of so many congregant volunteers, has been fundamental, core to breathing high life into this community. On this evening, we challenge ourselves as individuals to accountability in correcting for errors in judgment and flaws in our personal actions. Through our memories of loved ones, through our recitation of prayer and ancient rituals, we strive, as the rabbi indicated, in our hearts to do better, to make ourselves the best we can possibly be. At the same time, we are all here together. We are assembled in community. It is a core principle of our ancient faith and Jewish practice over the millennia. Our immigrant forebears who formed this congregation in 1885, all Lithuanian refugees, peddlers, one and all, understood this community, as should we. Rabbi Aaron reminded us on his first Rosh Hashanah sermon that the sacredness of community and memory are at the very core of our identity as a people. Within community, we find support in times of need. We find joy Within community, we find confirmation of core values, and within community, we find joy in being Jews or Jewish in some fashion. In this place, Burlington, of all places, northwestern Vermont, within which we are and will always be a tiny minority of the population. But beyond our responsibilities for individual self-reflection, beyond our desires for absolution on this sacred day, we are presented with an equally profound question. How do we as a community in the coming year and in the coming years do better? Ron Wolfson, in his pioneering work, Relational Judaism, extends his definition of Jewish community to embrace at its core relationships. He writes, quote, "For me, the value added must be a face-to-face community of relationships that gives my life meaning and purpose, belonging and blessing. Meaning is an understanding of the significance of life. Purpose is an imperative to do what you are put on earth to do during your life. Belonging is a community of people who will be there for you and with you. And blessing is a feeling of deep satisfaction and gratitude, a calendar and life cycle of opportunities to celebrate the gifts of life. This too must be our challenge for the coming year and beyond. Let us strive to use our hearts and our minds to the fullest of our abilities to bring into this home, this vibrant congregation, the spirit of a fully relational Jewish community where we foster meaning, purpose, belonging, and blessing. That should be our shared aspiration. Let us seize this moment, carpe diem, together in community to imagine what we could and should be as Ohavi Zedek. If each of us individually strives to be our best, imagine if all of us, in quest of a better community, banded together to bring out the best within this community. Much as we read and much as we cite Jewish scriptures and Jewish history, I submit to you that this is our moment in time. Let me share briefly a few examples for where and how the OZ board is continuing to act on its Imagine 2025 vision to grow and nurture our community for a better future. At our December meeting, I will be sharing with this congregation preliminary plans crafted by a master landscape planner to develop a portion of our currently undeveloped properties, both in front of Fern Hill and behind our shuk, to provide much-needed community housing, which something, incidentally, when we met with the Mayor Weinberger, he described in our recent meeting as, quote, both very exciting and, quote, one I'd love to make happen. We will strengthen our financial well-being. We will create a safer pedestrian pathway for our preschoolers who regularly cross the busy thoroughfare between this building and the shuk to access their natural playground and walking paths in our back. We will develop some of our property consistent with our values, but we will retain natural space for our playground, for walking, perhaps gardening, and other pursuits. Again, more about this in December. So too, we have hired an architectural firm with which to help us update our building into a modern Jewish community center that meets our current and our future needs. Consider, we need and want a preschool that accommodates all of our members. Presently, we have waiting lists. This will require modern and additional facilities that may include repurposing some of this existing building and conceivably adding to it. So too, we must support our dedicated preschool staff, that ensuring that they are well respected, fully respected, and properly paid. Think about that when I mention volunteer and giving opportunities momentarily. We must create opportunities in this home to allow our Hebrew school and our post-Hebrew school Nadav students and their families to find happiness in being present together and finding joy in Jewish song, prayer, celebrating holidays, and simply connecting relationally with one another. We can do better. We must. As we engage in a full review of the building, we will be looking at ways to balance diverse needs, not only relating to our educational mission, but also our desires to create a welcoming and secure entryway. We need an office that is both more accessible and more fully functional for our clergy and our staff. We need updated welcoming spaces for social and cultural gatherings, both formal and informal. I still have a dream that the lounge will eventually become something akin to a Starbucks, but better. And then there's the vision for soliciting funds beyond our congregation, as we've done with our world-renowned Lost Mural. We have embraced the notion and accepted the treasures from our original home on Archibald Street, recently sold to a private individual. And with those treasures, and I invite you all to walk over to the small sanctuary and take a peek, and what you'll witness is an ark, which will eventually be reconstructed in that small sanctuary at a massive height of 13 feet, and most incredible sight to be seen. It is a one-of-a-kind piece, similar, in fact, to the mural, and in fact, complementary in the sense that what we have done here, which the Jews in those ancient times in Little Jerusalem couldn't do, is we have brought both synagogues, Chayotim and Ohavi Zedek, competing with one another for 50 years. We have brought them together in our home. We have done the impossible. Building and property initiatives are visible and powerful instruments for illustrating our surthriving character of this community, but the true test of our determination will reveal itself in how we foster high life in this community. As Imagine 2025 reminds us, we must strive to achieve within our 3 designated pillars. We must provide a diversity of religious and spiritual experiences and opportunities for all of our congregants to participate and find meaning. We must commit to a fully developed Center for Jewish Life, whether it be through Jewish programming and expanding our horizons in Jewish arts and culture, education, or in simply providing opportunities through games and play to enjoy one another's company. Note the mahjong instructions in the back, please. It's an opportunity that shouldn't be missed. We must live up to, as well, to our congregation's name as lovers of justice, to find ways for us to demonstrate that we live our values through inclusivity within this community, through gamach, acts of loving kindness, and through tikkun olam, repair of the world. But let me move you from abstraction, which is where I left you last year, and imagination into the realm of the concrete and the practical. My request of you is this: at some juncture, when you're next on your computer fiddling about, surfing the internet, go to ohavizedek.org, our website, and thanks to our executive director, Brett Smith, scan to the very top of the opening page. You will see at the top of the page 2 options, one specifying, quote, ways to give, unquote, and the other, quote, volunteer, unquote, opportunities. Together, these offer opportunities for each and every one of us to bring our best to this community. Under volunteer, you will see innumerable and diverse places where you can foster joy and life in this home, in this community. Consider a few examples. Our membership committee is striving to foster welcoming through special events and an ambassador program pairing new and regular members. Join. Our Kiddush and kitchen mavens joyfully prepare Shabbos Kiddush, other congregational meals, and soon food preparation for outreach to those in need. Join. Imagine helping our Shalom Shuk and its mission to build relationships with those in need. Volunteer opportunities. Join. Our adult education is looking for leadership for book discussions and other events. Please join. We have opportunities to help with gardens and trails, inclusion practices, social media, fundraising, grant writing, audio technical teamwork, archives, and a variety of different committees. I submit to you that there's something there for everyone. And so, too, there are many ways to give to financially support the future of this community. There are opportunities to contribute to the general fund, to donate to an immediate cause or causes that resonate deeply within you personally. and there are opportunities to create endowment funds, to leave bequests, such as I mentioned to you earlier, to allow you or your loved ones to both be remembered and to remain active and alive within our community. I joyfully am reminded of my parents' fund and the fact that they do good, and they continue to do good long after their lives are done. As I've always said, one of the greatest important facets of Judaism is that after death, our memory remain as a blessing to the loved ones and to the institutions that we hold dear. In closing, I ask that you seize the opportunity to bring your best to bear in securing our community's ongoing story in our book of life, in our congregation's book of life. There is no one size that fits all. Be a leader. Find a place to invest in an important part of our past. Consider a legacy gift that operates in perpetuity. Whatever you choose by doing and giving, I promise you will receive far more in return. Let us together on this eve set our sights high. Let us prove to ourselves and to the larger community that this congregation's dedication to its values, to its caring, to its humanity, to its celebration of the meaning of Jewish practices, religious practices, to its celebration of culture, to its dedication to repair the world, that all of those are on par with that of our biblical and our historic forebears. Together we can and will build a new little Jerusalem. May we make it so in this year. Shana Tova, may we each be inscribed in the book of life. Thank you.